You're being manipulated and it's costing you thousands every year. You think you're paying for a product? Not really. You're paying for what companies think you're willing to pay. And that number often has nothing to do with what it actually costs to make. Why does a water bottle that costs 10 cents to make sell at $5 at the airport? Why is the same prescription drug being sold at 10 times higher prices in the US compared to other countries? Today, I'll share the hidden world of pricing psychology, how businesses engineer prices to mess with your brain, the tricks they use, and how you can protect yourself and not overpay again for these products. Stick around because once you understand these tactics, you'll never look at prices the same way again. Let's start with a myth that we've all been told. Businesses take their costs at a fair margin and voila, they come up with a price. That might have worked back in the 1800s. But today, pricing is a psychological war game and you're the opponent, or more like the victim. There's a concept called charm pricing or price rounding. That's our first example, except that prices are rounded to the closest 9 or 99. That's why you see things priced at $4.99 instead of $5. In your brain, you think it's just a cent, but actually, subconsciously, you react differently as if it's $1 cheaper. Companies leverage our brain's left-digit bias and cook us with psychological trick. A study from the University of Chicago and MIT found that when women were shown the same dress priced at $34, $39, and $44, the $39 dress outsold the cheaper $34 even, as it combines charm pricing and our psychology to choose the middle option. So it's not logic at all, it's perception. The second trick they use is discount anchoring. This is when items are marked with a very high price as their recommended retail price, but it's always discounted. Let's say you're buying an air fryer. The air fryer might be on sale for $199, marked down from $399. You never would have paid $399, but now $199 seems like a very good deal. Retailers use high anchor prices to make you feel like you're saving money and winning, even when the original prices was never real. This also shows the cheeky example of companies using both anchoring and price roundings. They make the discount seem larger than what it seems. What's supposed to be a 50% discount, like $400 versus $200, seems a lot larger with your left digit bias. As if you're comparing 3 and 1, $399 and $199. And trick number 3 is price laddering. Ever notice how Apple incrementally raised the iPhone price from $599 to $1,199 without ever losing customers? They're pretty much testing your willingness to pay, and it's perfect for a monopoly setting like Apple. They smartly ladder up their prices to make sure that the next line seems reasonably priced. First, you have the $599 for iPhone 16e, for example, and then they slowly ladder up with more storage, more features to $799 for iPhone 16, $999 for iPhone 16 Pro, and $1,199 for iPhone 16 Pro Max. And finally, the crazy thing is, companies offer the conjoint analysis. This one's more of a high-end. Businesses normally run market simulations to figure out exactly which features drive your willingness to pay. This analysis is performed to gauge how much you are willing to pay at a given point in time, so companies can plan and take the opportunity to increase prices when possible. A report from McKinsey and Company state that companies who use advanced pricing strategies like conjoint pricing boost profits by 2 to 7% without changing anything about a product. Just to deep dive on conjoint is a bit of a market research methodology that is quite powerful. It can give a good approximation of the customer's willingness to pay for an item by switching around features and actually surveying customers and the prices that they're willing to take for a particular product. In other words, based on what I just told you, they're not changing what you're buying, they're changing how much you're willing to pay for an item. Let's zoom in on something very simple. Your morning coffee. A Starbucks or boutique cafe, a latte costs around $5, but the actual cost is about $1.50, including the beans, milk, cup, and labor. So where's the rest of your money going? The secret lies in what behavioral economists call habitual pricing. When something becomes part of your daily ritual or daily routine, like that caffeine fix before work or your trip to Starbucks, you stop evaluating the price rationally. Starbucks isn't just selling coffee. They're selling routine, consistency, the psychological reward, and experience of a familiar start of your day. And this is backed by data. A study published by the Journal of Consumer Research found that consumer assigns a higher value to products associated with rituals or personal routines, even if the quality or content is identical or worse to something cheaper. You can also see this in your mobile, internet, or utility plan. Initially, they offer you an extra discount and cheap prices for you to switch around. As you become loyal to a brand, they will charge you even more because they know you are already using the product and you are in their ecosystem. And you probably have forgotten that you have options with other providers, a large discount, but you choose to stay loyal to the brand for identical service. They're just charging you based on your loyalty and inertia. Next, consider the printer ink example. This is a classic example of the razor and blade model. HP sells printer at or below cost, but the ink cartridges, that's where the profit lies. HP ink can cost up to $12,000 per gallon. That's more than the Dom Perignon champagne or Chanel No. 5 perfume. They do this by locking you into the product and ecosystem. Once you've bought the printer, you're stuck with compatible ink, often with chips that disable refilling with third-party options. That's not just pricing tricks, it's an ecosystem lock-in. Then there's the eyewear market. This is a classic example of monopolies and duopolies. Ever wonder why a piece of plastic and two lenses cost $300? It's because of market consolidation. Luxottica controls not just the brands like Ray-Ban or Oakley, but they also control the retailers like Sunglass Hut, Lens Crafters, and many more. By owning both supply and distribution, Luxottica can command high prices with little competition. So essentially they're a monopoly. It's not a free market, it's a vertically integrated machine. Market consolidation is a dangerous one because businesses increasingly are getting consolidated and it becomes monopolistic, granting increasing pricing power, and they can easily gouge customers with insanely high prices because customers ran out of option. And finally, I want to touch a bit on dynamic pricing. Let's pull back the curtain on one of the most misunderstood pricing tools. Yes, it can feel like price changes randomly, but the truth is it's all driven by a complex mix of data, a sophisticated forecasting tool, and a very bulletproof behavioral predictions. The classic examples that we all know is airlines, right? Their pricing isn't just based on your browsing history, it's built on sophisticated revenue management systems. Airlines monitor their supply and demand, remaining seat inventory, travel dates, competitive routes, demand forecasts, and even your browsing history and your location. These models predict how fast seats will sell and adjust prices based on how close you are to departure and how full the plane is. So airlines pretty much disregard the cost of flying an airplane from point A to point B, because distance may cost differently depending on the origin and destination of your journey. That's why the same seat can cost $150 one week, $350 the next week, and the week after, the price comes back down to $250. It's not just about you, it's about the algorithm and the sophisticated demand tools that they have. Finally, let's touch on A/B testing. This is where companies show two different prices or product bundles to two different users to see which converts better. You might be paying more just because you clicked on a different ad or linked it to seconds lower on a page than someone else. It's happening behind the scenes and you'll never know. It happens everywhere. From your Facebook ads, your TikTok ads, the algorithm has studied your behavior and the behavior of peers with similar profile to you to make sure that you have maximum willingness to pay and maximum conversion for the businesses that advertise on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. But in real life too, in physical life, supermarket does this and they test discounts and price points to gauge your willingness to pay. Ever wonder why some items might be on discount on one supermarket and not on the other, and then they switch around the discounts? They try to gauge your willingness to pay to make sure that they find a sweet spot where they can charge you as much as possible without lowering their sales volume significantly. So the question is, how do I fight back? If you want to fight back, first you need to ditch your brand loyalty. It costs you thousands annually. From insurance, banks, credit cards, your mobile carrier, even your supermarkets. Charge more knowing that you're loyal because they can. Secondly, switch to less popular but equally good brands. You'll save significantly without losing quality. And always research the lowest prices first. This resets your price expectations and can easily save you thousands. Take an example. So Aldi or Lidl compared to Trader Joe's. Aldi and Lidl products are arguably almost the same quality as Trader Joe's, but they can cost 20, 30 to 40% less. Trick number 3, sleep on it. Delaying big purchases like holidays or your brand new phone by 48 to 72 hours can really help you. Studies show this reduces impulse buys by more than half. When you see those Facebook ads, don't feel the urgency to buy, think about it, and get your needs to a deeper level. Make sure you actually need the product and not impulse buying. Prices are set not by cost, but by psychological engineering. Companies constantly test and exploit your willingness to pay, but now you're equipped with powerful strategies and knowledge to save money and avoid these traps. And now it's your turn. What's the sneakiest pricing trick that you've discovered recently? Drop your stories in comments below. I'm curious about it. My mind is honestly blown while researching this topic. Actually, I've managed to save a couple $100 this month. See you in the next video where we uncover more economic truths and how you can save money and your finances.